Now this is my Fuyu persimmon tree. This tree is probably about 12, 15 feet tall. I've had it, I think maybe about 7 or 8 years. I'm going to harvest some of these, but not all of them, because as you can hopefully see, some of them are more ripe than others. This is kind of a darker orange. All of them are orange. Now I could eat this, which is really ripe, a little soft, but I could also eat this one, which isn't a darker orange. This one's definitely a darker orange. I'm not sure if you can tell by the camera, but this is a darker orange. This one's a little bit lighter, but I could still eat this one because there are a lot of varieties of persimmons, but they break them up into two categories. You have your astringent persimmons and you have your non-astringent persimmons. The astringent ones are like, I don't know what to compare it to, because if you bite into it before it's ripe, you're going to have I won't say a choking experience. It's just very astringent. I won't call it bitter. I don't know what to call it, except for it can be a little scary if you bite into it and I know one year I was out in the middle of a cow pasture, family land, and I saw a persimmon tree and I got all excited and I went and grabbed one and bit into it. It wasn't quite ripe yet. And with this bear, Prince, you don't have to bark at the neighbor's dogs. Anyway, Bear, Prince, come here. And I've run into astringent persimmon trees before. In fact, one year I was out in family land and I saw 2 or 3 persimmon trees. When I'm out in the country, I'm always looking for food. I'm always looking for berries, persimmon trees, apple trees, whatever. I'm always looking for wild food or food that has been abandoned. And I saw this persimmon tree and I took a persimmon off the tree, ate it. Well, I didn't quite eat it because I bit into it and immediately it was like a shock. Worse than, harsher than your most bitter lemon by 10 or multiply by 100. It was horrible. And this land is out in the country. And I got a little bit afraid because it was like all up in affecting my throat. And so it's a very bad experience. That being said, you have your astringent persimmons, which are very difficult to eat unless they're fully ripe. Once they're fully ripe, they're great. Because I did find another persimmon tree another year, same property, and they were ripe. And I bit into it, wonderful fruit. And I'm just walking around eating wild fruit, and I'm like, is this a persimmon? I think so. But it was tastes great. But they have to be really soft, almost squishy, before they're really ripe and you're able to eat them. Non-astringent persimmons, just the opposite. You can take this, it was nice and firm like an apple, slice it, just bite into it, whatever. They're great. But I prefer to catch them kind of in between when they're a little soft, very juicy. Great fruit. If you get a chance to plant one of these, try it. I was looking at persimmons the other day online, and they're hard to find local. So I found some online, and they were like, this one store had them for $120. I'm like, no. Now, if you have an opportunity or space to grow a persimmon tree, grow one. These are great fruit, and it's something that you're going to have late in the season. They're durable. They can take the heat. They can take the cold. In fact, this fruit is even better if you let a frost hit it. But by the time frost comes, I would probably have eaten it all, and they will have gotten overly ripe by then anyway. But they can take a frost. They're great. You don't see them in stores too often. So if you get a chance, consider getting one of these. They're absolutely great. I planted it, barely did anything with it. Gave it a little fertilizer, watered it a few times, and after that first year, I may have watered it, maybe the second year I watered it 3-4 times. But after that, I just left it and it just grew. So I give it a little fertilizer every spring, but aside from that, I'm almost carefree. So I'm going to harvest some of these. And when you're harvesting these things, there's a certain way you want to take it off. If I can get the camera moved around. Now here's one that's super ripe. That's super soft, super squishy. A little bit overripe for me, but it's still going to taste great. And normally when you pick them, I don't want to pick something that's not quite ready. Let me see if I can get you over here. Now normally when you pick them, there's two ways to do it. You can either cut it off or you can twist it off. Nice and easy. You don't want to just yank it off, because it's not as easy to come off as you might think. Now I do want more varieties of persimmons, so I found a wild persimmon tree and I grafted it. I have about 2, maybe 3 spots on here where I've grafted branches on. And hopefully this graft will take, because instead of planting 3 trees out here, I would rather have 3 different varieties of persimmons on this one tree. Maybe I might buy 1 more variety to stick out here, because I did have a branch that broke on this one. Pretty big sized branch that I got at least 40 persimmons off of. This branch split right here. Yeah, you know, these branches was hanging down low because it was loaded, and usually it handles the load, but this time it couldn't, and the branch was hanging low and it split. This happened a couple weeks ago, and as you can see, plenty of persimmons on here. So I might plant 1 more, because I would hate to just lose this and have nothing for years. Because it takes maybe 3 years for it to really start producing, and by the 4th year I was having more persimmons than I could eat myself. So look for the video next spring, because I will have hopefully 2 varieties on this tree if these grafts hold up. But if these grafts don't work, I'm not going to give up. I'll find the trees again and get some more grafted. If you're wondering how big persimmons get, I have big hands. This is almost like a beefsteak tomato. I'd say maybe 3.5 inches across, about 3 inches across. Regardless, they're big. Love these things. Well, folks, that's about all. But do me a favor, share this video out like you would a good harvest. Also, plant a seed and hit that like button. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell. That would be notified next time I have something going on in the garden. Until then, let's get out there and get a little dirty. Yeah.